Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a teenager in North Korea? We've seen countless documentaries about the country's leaders, its strict regime, and even its bizarre laws. But let's take a step back and imagine something different. What is daily life like for an ordinary North Korean teenager? Is it anything like the life of a teenager anywhere else in the world? The truth might shock you. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy deep dives into fascinating and unusual topics, make sure to subscribe and stay with us till the end as we unravel the hidden world of North Korean youth. Now, let's start with a simple fact. Your social class in North Korea determines your entire life. And for a teenager, this means everything from what you eat to whether you'll have any form of entertainment. If you're the child of a high-ranking official or a military general, congratulations. Your life will be a little easier, maybe even privileged. But if you're an average teenager from a regular family, your reality is a whole different story. Teenagers in North Korea are exposed to illegal foreign movies. Yes, illegal. They get access to these films through black markets, where smugglers risk their lives bringing in Western and South Korean content. And guess what? These movies give them a glimpse of a world they're never supposed to see. Some try to copy Western fashion or hairstyles, but there's a catch. Fashion freedom doesn't exist in North Korea. You can't just get a haircut you like. Your hairstyle must be government approved. That's right, there's an official list of state-approved haircuts, and stepping outside of that list, well, that could land you in trouble. Makeup is also a black market product, and just like smuggled movies, it's sold at ridiculously high prices. If a girl wears bright red lipstick, she could be labeled as a capitalist sympathizer and sent straight to prison. The only officially accepted makeup is a barely noticeable shade of lipstick, and even that is risky. Speaking of fashion police, North Korea is probably the only country in the world with an actual fashion police force. They are called the Gyu, and their job is to roam the streets, checking if anyone is dressing too Western or rebellious. If you get caught, best case scenario, they'll publicly shame you. Worst case? You could end up doing forced labor in construction work for weeks or months. Now let's take a look at education. Schools in North Korea are all government controlled, and education is technically free and mandatory until the age of 16. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. At the age of 10, kids must choose their career path, whether they want to be musicians, athletes, mathematicians, or something else. And once they choose, there's no turning back. So, if you say you want to be a footballer at 10, congratulations. You're now stuck in that path for life, even if you realize later that you hate football. The government claims that 98% of the population is literate, but there's no way to verify that because no independent organizations are allowed to check. And what's in the school curriculum? Heavy doses of patriotism, obedience, and worship of the ruling family. In religious studies, kids are taught that the North Korean leader and his ancestors are practically gods. Criticizing them, even in a joke, is one of the most serious crimes. But here's the real problem. Many schools don't have heating, air conditioning, or even basic supplies like books and notebooks. And at 17, education stops for most students because military service begins. Military service in North Korea is no joke. Boys must serve 10 years and girls serve 6 years. The only exceptions? If you are a top athlete or an academic genius with perfect grades, you might be allowed to skip military service and continue your studies. Otherwise, say goodbye to your teenage years, because you'll be in uniform for a decade. Now let's talk about fun, or rather, the lack of it. What do North Korean teenagers do for entertainment? If you're lucky enough to live in the capital, Pyongyang, your options are limited to one movie theater with 2 screens and a bowling alley. That's it. And even those places are only accessible to the country's elite. If you come from an average or lower class family, entertainment means listening to state-approved music or watching government-made movies. Some privileged kids have gaming consoles, but don't expect an Xbox or PlayStation. The most they have is an old Nintendo Wii, And of course, it's completely offline. Even owning a flash drive with a Hollywood movie on it is a crime. In 2018, a group of wealthy teenagers got caught listening to American pop music. The punishment? A year of forced labor in harsh conditions. Ironically, a few months later, Kim Jong-un himself was seen attending a Western-style concert, proving that laws in North Korea apply only to regular people, not the ruling elite. Now let's talk about one of North Korea's biggest hidden problems, drug addiction. Yes, you heard that right. About 30% of the population, including teenagers, is addicted to drugs, mostly opium and its derivatives. North Korea actually produces opium to sell in black markets to avoid economic sanctions, but part of it ends up inside the country, worsening the addiction crisis. Recently, the government has tried to reduce domestic drug use, but addiction rates remain high. When it comes to relationships, forget about dating. Relationships outside of marriage are strictly forbidden, and once girls reach a certain age, they are expected to marry and have children because the country is facing a declining population. Holding hands in public with someone you're not married to, that could get you arrested. If someone is caught with an adult film, they don't just get a warning. They're sent to a re-education prison camp for moral correction. And what about technology? Only about 25% of North Koreans own a phone. And even then, it's not a smartphone. It's just a simple device for making calls, with no internet access. Meanwhile, the ruling family and top officials enjoy iPhones and high-speed internet. Some black market smugglers bring in Chinese smartphones that secretly connect to international networks, but if you're caught with one, you simply disappear. So for a country that claims to be a socialist paradise, why does it seem like there is no equality at all? Wasn't communism supposed to make everyone equal? In North Korea, that concept is just an illusion, because if you're not part of the elite, life is about survival, control, and fear. What do you think about the reality of teenagers in North Korea? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fascinating insights into the world's hidden realities.